Hi there, I'm Corey with Barley 5 Malt House. As a brewer, how do you determine what your malt bills will be? And then how do you determine what flavor profile those malts will bring to the table? Well, the method that we use is the hot steep malt sensory method. This method is a great way to show those flavor profiles derived from the malt, some of the mouthfeel, the aromas, and then the color that it will bring to your beer. So today we're going to be demonstrating two tests. One demonstrating first just the Barley 5 base malt, and then the second test will incorporate some Crystal 40 that we also developed. Let's get started. The items that we're going to need is a heating apparatus to heat water. I'll be using a sous vide stick because it heats the water quickly and maintains the temp very accurately. We'll need a coffee grinder or any grinder capable of grinding a 3-ounce volume. A thermos capable of holding 24 ounces of volume. Filtered paper. We're using fluted filtered paper, Alstrom number 515, but you'd probably get away with a larger coffee filter. Just make sure that they are large commercial sized ones. A plastic funnel with a short stem, 16 centimeters in diameter or similar. Just has to be big enough to accommodate all the fluid that's going to be put into it at one time. A glass beaker, 600 milliliters in volume with 400 milliliters of distilled water. 50 grams of base malt, and a scale capable of weighing in grams. For the first sensory, we're just going to be testing base malt, so we're going to weigh out 50 grams of base malt. We're now going to pour 400 milliliters of distilled water into our beaker. In the meantime, we're heating up our water to 65 degrees Celsius. Now we're going to take those 50 grams of base malt and we're going to pour it into our coffee grinder. And we're going to grind it up into a coarse flour. Now we're going to take our floured malt and we're going to put it in our thermos. Once our water's been heated up to 65 degrees Celsius, we're going to pour those 400 milliliters of water into that thermos and give her a good shake for about 20 seconds. We're then going to set our timer for 15 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to put our funnel inside our beaker, put our filter inside the funnel, and we're going to pour some water in there to wet the filter. And then we can discard the water. Once our timer is up, we're going to give our thermos another quick shake, and we're going to pour it into our filtered paper, all of it. There may be fragments of malt left over inside the thermos, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to let our wort flow through the filter here until we've got 100 milliliters of wort collected. Notice that the wort is very cloudy, but we're going to take care of that. Once we've collected that 100 milliliters, we're going to take and we're going to pour that right back into the thermos. We'll replace the cap, give it a real good shake, and pour it very gently right back into the mash bed. After 45 minutes, you should be able to obtain between 250 and 300 milliliters of clarified wort. It all depends on how finely you ground the malt. The finer the grind, the longer the wort extraction. This sample took approximately 1.5 hours to obtain. You may now distribute it to your 6 to 8 testers, but it's recommended that you serve within the next 4 hours. The equipment and processes are essentially the same when analyzing darker roasted malts, with the exception of the amount of malts used. We're going to use 43 grams of base malt and 7 grams of Crystal 40. We're going to measure out 400 milliliters of distilled water. Heat the water up to 65 degrees Celsius. Place the base and crystal malt into the coffee grinder and grind for 20 seconds until you have a coarse flour. Add the malt to the thermos. Add the water. Shake it up for 20 seconds. Set your timer for 15 minutes. You're going to once again wet your filter paper. Once the time's up, give your thermos a good shake and pour your mash into the filter paper. Now you're going to collect your 100 milliliters of unclarified wort. Return that 100 milliliters to your thermos, give it a good shake, pour it back into your mash bed. You're going to spend the next 45 minutes to an hour collecting 250 to 300 milliliters of clarified wort. You may now distribute to your 6 to 8 people for testing.